Greetings everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the chemical methods to prevent bacteria. Previously we are done with the physical methods, and now when it comes to the chemical methods, we are going to utilize chemical species. We are going to utilize chemical substances for preventing the growth, preventing the metabolism, or killing the bacteria, or sterilizing surfaces or the living organisms from bacteria. So sterilization process, number two method is chemical method. In chemical method, we are going to utilize three major categories, three major classifications, among which number one involves antiseptics, which we have heard of. After that, when it comes to second method, it is disinfectants. Number third method, antibiotics, or we can better utilize the word chemotherapeutics. Chemotherapeutics, right? When it comes to antiseptics, understanding the terminology, what is meant by antiseptics? Antiseptics are those terminologies, antiseptics are those chemical substances which are utilized on the living surfaces. On the living surfaces, these are not utilized in the living surfaces, but on the living surfaces, such that uh, several antiseptics available uh, involves examples of halogens, sanitizers, soaps, detergents. All of these are examples of the antiseptics which are utilized on the living surfaces in order to sterilize the living surface. But when it comes to disinfectants, disinfectants are those chemical substances which are utilized on non-living surfaces, which means these are utilized on non-living surfaces. When it comes to a perfect disinfectant, an ideal disinfectant is the one which kills all microorganisms in the shortest possible time without damaging the material treated, which kills the microorganisms in shortest possible time without damaging the material treated, is considered as an ideal disinfectant. Apart from which, when it comes to chemotherapeutic drugs, these are those chemical substances which are utilized um in the living surfaces, in the living tissues, such that they function with the defense mechanism of the living organism in order to combat bacteria and kill them, and remove them, eliminate them, or sterilize them from the living bodies. So these basically work in line with the defense system, with the defense system, or defense mechanism in order to kill the bacteria. And here, chemotherapeutic drugs involves the best example, which is antibiotics. After that, when it comes to antiseptics, antiseptics and disinfectants involve a lot of examples. Um, for disinfectants, we are having examples of several detergents, examples of several detergents are there, as well as several disinfectants are available in the market, such that we are having utensils cleaner, or we are having some sort of washing powders and all that. These are all coming in the examples of disinfectants. Now when it comes to the classification of chemical substances, we are having number one, halogens. Halogens are those compounds which involves a group 7A elements, which includes chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine, and all of these basically are utilized both as antiseptics as well as detergents. Um, these were basically these are utilized as bleaches. These halogens are utilized as bleaches and for the purpose of water treatment. After that, the chemical method which we are having is phenol. Phenol is one of the earliest antiseptics utilized. It was utilized first by Joseph Lister, who was the first person to utilize antiseptic. Mr. Joseph Lister, who utilized phenol as the first antiseptic in 1860s, and it is also the standard for many of the antiseptics and disinfectants created today. So phenol is among those. After that, we have heavy metals. Some of the heavy metals have the capability to act as antimicrobial substances, such that we are having example of silver nitrate. Silver nitrate uh, is basically having silver as a heavy metal in it, which is utilized in the eyes of a newborn in order to prevent the newborn from Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Prevent the newborn from the Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Silver nitrate is utilized in the eyes of the newborn to prevent it from Neisseria gonorrhoeae, which basically causes a sexually transmitted disease, gonorrhea. Right? So after that, we are having another example of another compound over here, which involves uh, the aldehydes. Aldehydes are of two types which are utilized: formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde are utilized. Formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde are utilized, and these basically have the characteristic that they uh, formaldehyde as well as glutaraldehyde, they tend to cross-link with the functional groups of the microbial protein, as a result of which they tend to they cross-link the functional group of the microbial proteins, as a result of which they alter the microbial protein and thus inhibit the metabolism. As a result of which they inhibit the metabolism by cross-linking the functional groups in the microbial protein, whether it is the structural protein or the functional protein. So this is the function, and these are again useful. After that, we are having another compound which is known as ethylene oxide. It is a compound which is utilized for the sake of ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide, which basically causes to denature the proteins of bacteria, and not only denatures the vegetative cells but also denatures the endospores, exospores, and the cysts which are formed. Moreover, when it comes to another example, we are having some other examples such as food preservatives. Food preserve preservants. For food preservants, we are utilizing several food preservants or organic acids, which involves examples of benzoic acid as an organic acid, sorbic acid as an benzoic acid, and sorbic acid are utilized as food preservants because these acids cause to maintain an acidic pH, due to which the bacteria are unable to perform their metabolic activity. After that, um, of course, they can, bacteria can go for formation of endospores and exospores, but not necessarily, cause the formation of vegetative cells. After that, oxidizing agents are also there. Oxidizing agents such as permanganates, peroxides, magnesium permanganate, peroxides are oxidizing agent which basically cause the oxidation of the microbial protein, such that they cause to provide oxygen, as a result of which they alter the microbial protein and inhibit the metabolism. Alter the microbial protein and inhibit the metabolism ultimately. So this is how they function. After which these were all about the chemical methods. A good point here to mention about the antibiotics here is that antibiotics are also functional against many of the bacteria, but these also have some sort of side effects when used. So that whenever we are utilizing antibiotics, we only utilize them for specific purposes. Let's suppose if we are utilizing tetracycline, it's an antibiotic. Tetracycline, uh, if is utilized for a longer period of time, it can cause permanent discoloration of teeth. After which we are having penicillin. Penicillin is an antibiotic which is obtained from the yeast. Sorry, it is obtained from a fungi which is known as Penicillium notatum. Penicillium notatum. is a fungi which basically from which we obtained the penicillin or the first antibiotic in the research field. And here this is the first antibiotic. And if we are utilizing penicillin, then of course it has side effects of allergic reactions. And after that we are having streptomycin. Streptomycin is an antibiotic obtained from Streptomyces species, and which is a filamentous bacteria Streptomyces. And that Streptomyces provides streptomycin, and that streptomycin basically has a side effect such that it can cause a damage to the auditory nerve, due to which it can lead to deafness, right? And these are some side effects, which we need to consider while you know discussing the bacterial antibiotics. Apart from which, all of the antibiotics of bacteria are more or less formed in the living tissue, such that the antibiotics can only be formed into the living systems, such that we cannot synthesize antibiotics synthetically in laboratory. Also, there are some methodologies in which indirectly synthetic antibiotics can be synthesized, but again, their chief source or major sources the living system, such that these are the antibiotics which are obtained from the living organism. Antibiotics cannot be solely made from synthetic bodies. So these all antibiotics are obtained through genetic engineering from the living bodies, such as penicillin obtained from Penicillium notatum, streptomycin obtained from Streptomyces, and amoxicillin obtained from E. coli. So these are antibiotics which are obtained. So this is all about this video. Hopefully we'll meet again in another video.